green flag.
Welcome back. I've just had my first week of iRacing and it's such a sense of relief. It's nice to see that clean online racing is actually possible. Gran Turismo, Forza, F1 2020, and basically every single racing game, whether it's sort of arcadey, sort of sim-esque, like Simcade as people call them, every single online game I've ever tried, full of punters and griefers and people just run you off the road. They never respect the space, and how you might want to take a racing line, and guess what? They send it up the inside and take you out. It is extremely frustrating. So what a sense of relief to see that this is possible in iRacing. Some of the races I don't have good footage of, like the MX5 Cup, I just found it boring, honestly. And then there are some races where I just got frustrated because I got punted off the road and I just quit, so I didn't save the replay. But there are some races where I saved the replay, so let's run through some clips. So the very first thing is you start in rookie class and you graduate to D license when you get 2.6 safety rating. So my first goal was to get out of rookie class as soon as possible. Personally, I found the MX5 Cup very boring, so I just wanted to get out of there and also I really want to get into the open wheel racing. So in my experience, after about 4 races, I was able to get the D license, and that means I could stop the MX-5. The MX-5 Cup was all about getting through the whole race without incidents or minimizing it. I went into USF 2000, I bought the car, and it is night and day between MX-5 and that. I found it really fun. I really like how it drives, mostly because I like a aggressive turn-in when it comes to a Formula car. So the car really rotates when you do the weight transfer forward and then steer. And the oversteer is very manageable. It does. I mean, you still get spins. I spin all the time when I first started practicing, but it's actually fairly responsive, at least in my view, and a fairly stable platform. At least compared to the tail happy MX-5, it actually has some speed. So I did my first races with the USF, and I have mixed results, but it's definitely trending positive. The last 2 races I just finished over yesterday and the day before, I got 2 podium positions, a 3rd place and a 2nd place, and I was able to qualify on pole at some point. So maybe I'm finally being slotted into the right tier or the right split to my skill level. I'm still in the pretty low divisions right now, so obviously the skill level isn't exactly high. So I'm not delusional to think that, oh yeah, I'm like so good at this. I think I'm not even close to some of the absolutely leading times that I see people post. Some people are hitting 149s on Watkins Glen racetrack, and I'm hitting 151 at best, and my optimal is around, or my best lap is around 150 or 159.9 or something like that. But it's been such an improvement. I initially started at 158, right? So the fact that I can chop off 8 seconds off my time from the moment I started on the car to now, I think it's a massive improvement. I'm pretty proud of myself. There's this race where I got a very good start off the rolling start, and you can see I slowly rolled up and accidentally rolled a little bit further. And if you look at the inputs, I actually lifted, and I'm letting the speed roll back down. And as soon as the lead car started gunning it, I hit the gas back, and I was able to pull 2nd place right off the line, basically. But there was also another where I was on the receiving end of that, and I was caught completely off guard, where I had a bad start. I was starting in pole, and I, obviously a very inexperienced pole sitter, I didn't know how to start well, and I lost 2 positions immediately. One thing I've discovered is that the dirty air has such a big effect, and I've always heard about it on TV, and you drive some of these road cars and you never feel the downforce. But I realized in starting to get into open wheel racing, and I realized, wow, this is real. I can barely follow closely, and there has been a couple incidents where I lost my braking point, or I tried to hit the same braking point and I just understeered, or my brakes lock up because I didn't have enough, front end grip, and I either plowed right into a wall of the car in front. So definitely a learning experience there. But over time, I was able to get better and better at following closely and doing in different lines, trying to get a little bit more downforce as I do the turns. And in the USF series, there are no marbles, or at least there's automatic cleaning of marbles. So it seems like when you go offline, the grip doesn't completely change, or at least that quickly. At least in my experience, when you lose or gain a position early in the race, you start developing or settling into a rhythm. And it's sort of really hard to gain yet another position or lose another position. You sort of have to be consistent, and you just finish where you are unless somebody crashes or something. The track seems to rubber in, so if you go offline trying to pass, the grip level changes, and the advantageous racing line just becomes a little bit more advantageous because of how grippy it is. At least that's what I feel. I don't know if it's just my head messing with me, but I would catch up to somebody, and within 1 or 2 seconds, I can't get that closer. I don't have that extra little bit of a grip. It seems like as soon as I get within 1 or 2 seconds of the car in front, it just the car feels loose, and I just can't go any faster. Or I can't keep my pace to continue to catch up. So it almost feels like I have to be significantly faster and sort of settle back a little bit and sort of gain that pace and be really strategic where it is. Another thing I've noticed is that there are a lot of complaints online about how slippery the grass is, and I fully agree how slippery the grass is, but I think there's a fine line between modeling grass that's grippy at times and incentivizes people to go offline and cut tracks, etc. So I think there needs to be a degree of punishment. And I think the degree of control, at least for the USF 2000 or the Miata, the only two cars I've tried so far, it's not that bad. I mean, if you counter steer, be gentle on the inputs for whether it's throttle or brake or even steering, don't jerk it around, you can catch it. I actually made a pass on the grass. Like my two right wheels was on the grass over the curb. The driver in front slowed down a bit too much than necessary, and I've noticed they left the right hand side, the apex, a little bit open. And I think he's assuming there's only half a car width there, and forcing me to go on the outside, which would really slow me down for the straight. So I think he was actually being quite strategic in here and trying to block it. So I knew that immediately. I either do a dive down the inside immediately and make it happen, or I'll be forced to the outside or follow the car and go really slow down the straight, and I'm actually under threat of yet another car behind me, so we will both get past. So I made a very quick judgment to snap back into the right side and hit that apex really hard, like really hit it, and ride that curve up and move. I didn't actually get it off track because the center of the car never passed over the red-white curbing. The center of the car was still very much on the track. The right two wheels are off, but perfectly legal pass, and I was very proud of that. But the point is, it's controllable. I was counter steering through there, and the grass is possible. But that said, I crashed numerous times just hitting the grass a little bit, but it's usually on corner entry when my wheel is slightly on the grass. I hit the brakes, and it's obvious that it would happen. It happens in real life where if you have left tires and right tires not having balanced grip and you hit the brakes, you're gonna get rotation. You're gonna get yaw. So if you hit the brakes really hard after a straight with a wheel off the track, you expect a lot of rotation and a lot of yaw. So I don't know what the complaint's about. Maybe this is me being very dismissive, but I've been really enjoying iRacing, and I love it for what it is. So maybe I need to spend a little bit more time before I criticize the critics. I need to spend a little bit more time getting familiar and understanding iRacing. But so far I've had a very good experience. Yeah, so my criticism of iRacing so far in my experience is really lacking a safety car and not having real race strategy. It seems like it's really focused on race execution and just pure driving. The safety car aspect, if there's an accident, I see a local yellow, at least in the races I've seen, which doesn't really do anything. You slow down and the guy next to you or behind you just zooms by. Seemingly passing on their yellow is okay in iRacing. I don't know. If it's not, let me know in the comments. But at least I haven't seen anybody get a penalty when they pass me in a yellow zone or yellow sector. So I'm surprised, given how much iRacing is hyped up as a racing simulation. I thought cautions and flags would be something that would get right, and then not having safety cars for big accidents is kind of bizarre to me as well, because they have a pace car for rolling starts. Why not just use it again for whenever there's a big accident? Just get it out, do a lap, and then reset the field. It will add a new strategic element to the race, and as you plan for racetracks with more likelihood of accidents, there are teams in real life that would calculate, hey, when we go into Monaco, there's a high level of high likelihood of safety car, so you set a harder compound, and you run longer in the race just to anticipate, and you want track position over being able to overtake. There are so many different strategic elements that you can play with, but I don't see that in iRacing. And on that note, I don't even see race compounds, at least so far in the USF. I'm surprised because these are slicks and I should be able to choose between different types of slicks. I noticed that the car is always overfueled. Like, I don't need a car that's fueled for 50 laps, doing practice sessions, and maybe I want a light fuel load. In a race, I want to underfuel, and I'd rather do a lift and coast and save fuel than have an overweight car. I just feel like there are so many opportunities to do this here, which I'm surprised it hasn't been done. iRacing has been around for 10 years, and it seems like tires and fuels is an afterthought. But again, maybe it'll be better in the more advanced series, because maybe this is still beginner and like they don't want to confuse beginners with tires and fuel strategies and differences. But let me know in the comments below if you have more experience, and maybe you can tell me whether tires or fuel is something that you actually see in more advanced series, because I would love to see that. So the race ended as is, and I ended up placing second. I wasn't able to catch up to the lead car and overtake it. I had a few goes, I had a few good chances and a few good looks, but at the end of the day, I just didn't want to risk it all and cause a big accident. I think there was one instance where I was so close I actually had to hit the brakes to avoid an accident, because the car in front was just swerving under braking. So I just let that go, and I figure that this is my very first podium. I should be happy about it. Well, thank you so much for watching, and this concludes sort of my first week of iRacing, and I absolutely love it. I think there are so many things I want to try, and I can't wait to do each race each week in the USF series. If there are any other series that you think I should check out, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you again for watching. Remember to give me a thumbs up, or if you want to stay up to date, hit subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye for now.